Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are premiering, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Moon Harvest, Amish Earther, Naughty Thumbnails, Mitch Kennedy, Original D Rose, Rod, the name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMails24, Unimento, M Iron26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKinnon, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Fibre Oats, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. And as I say, if you did want to support me on Patreon to keep the lights on this show, then the link is in the info box below this video. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
It doesn't even have to be like a secondary or tertiary information. You can like do primary investigation or primary observations yourselves, right? So you don't even have to rely on anybody.
Yeah.
Like you can go on a lake. You don't even need a P1000. You can go on a lake and you can see across a 30-mile lake, with the naked eyes. So it's that simple to, you know what I mean, to look into FE.
Well, that was one of the first things that came up to me was the 50-mile lake, right? I used to look there one end to the other end, 50 miles. I could see.
Oh, you got a 50-mile lake. I only got a 30-mile lake. I thought I had it made.
I had to one up you. That's flattered.
Touche. Yeah.
It is funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, guys. All the best.
Hello, Ivan.
How you doing, brother?
So far, so good. How are you guys?
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm just out in the country, chilling out in the car right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nice quiet morning.
What'd you do, right? Just buy a car?
No, I go in a car from time to time. I don't often talk from a car, but sometimes, because I go for drives to get away from like the internet, right? But yeah, I sometimes like to go. You know what I mean? Just have some peace and quiet a little bit, right?
Yeah, driving is pretty peaceful.
Yeah, I love driving.
Yeah, these days when people, like, hey, all the best in the new year and stuff, I'm asking for proofs. Do you have any proof that you made a circle around the sun?
That you made a circle around the sun? Is that what you said?
Whatever they're celebrating, right? Like what you're celebrating, guys. Circle around the sun, yeah. Do you have any proof? And they just look at me like, oh, weirdo.
Oh, I gotcha. Because a new year would be like a full lap around the sun, according to the heliocentric model, right?
Yeah. So I'm asking, do you have any proof of this, that you made this full circle last night and whatever?
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's pretty bold of you. I myself, I don't mention FB anymore. You know what I mean? I just noticed even some of the simple things people like struggle to see. So I'm like, you know what? I just don't bother anymore.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
keep
try now
stealth.
and then, but like simple things, very, very simple things. I don't go to FE, let's say. That's too much over people's heads, it seems. Even though it's very simple to verify and validate, it's just too much over people's heads.
Right? Just keep stealth mode on, like
But
nobody
yeah, I
can see.
mean, Steve, Steve says, "Oh man, what a fight or what a struggle or what a whatever," and I'm like, you know what? It's not for me. I'm just chilling. I'm just relaxing. You know, I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bother.
yeah.
I mean, why get worked up over it, right? Why get worked up over anything, really? So yeah, you know, I just take it easy, and I take it easy with people, I guess you could say. All right. It's like a bee with a buzz's avatar says, what? Says be
They're
happy,
all
right?
cowards. They're all cowards, afraid to bring up flat Earth, what people might think. Bunch of pansies. I'm in no mood
Who
today. My
said I was
team got
afraid?
beat last night.
Who said we were afraid, Neil? Did you listen to what I said? I didn't say one thing about fear.
I'm not talking just specifically
One thing.
about here. The other day, the conversation was being held about health. Like
All right,
Eli,
cool.
I don't know if I should bring it up.
Well, what was his reasons for not bringing it up? What did he say? Neil?
I'm driving righteous, so you give me a minute.
I got you. You know, it's easier if you park.
You can't park when you're
Easier
doing a
if you park.
delivery, my friend.
Yeah, I got you. I'm just being sarcastic, I guess.
What's happening is I'm learning how to use this new phone. When you're so iPhone dependent and you're trying to do the same thing as you would do with an iPhone to get off something and on something else, oh my gosh. But I'm getting the hang
All
of
right.
it.
All right. Well, I never had an iPhone. I got an Android at the moment, and I got a tablet that's also by, I guess, Microsoft. What's it called?
So you might have the reverse effect. If you went to iPhone, you might, you know what I'm saying, be struggling in a different way. But I thought I wasn't roboting no more. I listened to a couple of shows, even with this phone. It's still roboting. Freaking ridiculous.
Well, aren't you in the city or something like that? Shouldn't there be more like infrastructure for communication in the city?
Of course. I'm not in the sticks. I'm not in a freaking country. I'm in freaking Auburn University. I can't believe Alabama lost to Michigan last night. What the freak?
Yeah.
I
Felt
come to
like
the
landing on the
conclusion that all
moon.
sports are fixed. I told my
Do
son,
you got?
as I'm watching the game, I said it's fixed because Tim Tebow, they were on the sidelines calling the game, a bunch of announcers, and right before the last play, he was like, all right, guys, I got to go. I said, the fix is in. He's not going to get in and force a double overtime. Tim Tebow's leaving. This shit is scripted, and I'm the sucker watching it.
No swearing.
Yeah, you're right about the sucker part, Neil. That they got that NFL college.
Stevie, you son of a gun, you.
No, it's rigged. It's the way it is.
So does that mean you're gonna stop watching sports, Neil?
Well, I'm not going to be invested in it like I am. That's ridiculous. I seen the shit unfolding. Listen, you can't tell me that you dominate a fourth quarter, you get a lead. Now you got a chance to go up more, and you go conservative. Take 3 points to go up by 7. I told my kids what's going to happen. I said, yeah, Alabama's shutting them down the whole fourth quarter. Watch now. Michigan's going to move right down the field, score, and they may go for 2 to end the freaking game. But they didn't. They kicked the extra point, and they went down with ease. Come on, man. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. Pretty controlled.
And not to say, to end it on this, Jim Harbaugh, the coach of the Michigan Wolverines, was suspended for like 6 games because he got caught taking videotapes of freaking opponents' practices, which is illegal, right? They shouldn't even been there. But that's not what I'm mad about. I'm mad about the fact that they're pushing him. What? I'm breaking up? Said I'm breaking up?
Steve, you there?
All right.
No, you're there. Am I making noise? You're all right, Neil.
Am I breaking up?
No, Neil, you're fine. Go ahead.
Bing bongs.
Oh, I'm
sorry. That was my. I don't have my seatbelt on. Forgive me. Anyway, they're sending him off his last year coaching in college because he's going to go to the pros next year and get a nice $20 million contract. So, of course, come on. I'm done. I'm not invested in it no more. I'm not watching sports no more.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, whatever. He's been saying that for about 3 years. Always around this sort of time, I've noticed. He renounces sports around about the new year.
Yeah, because it's the playoffs. It's a college football playoffs. Now, next week, they could have been playing for the national title. I'm entitled to that. Alabama's there all the time. Sick to my stomach. And it was scripted, and I'm done. I'm finished.
Yeah.
You will never hear another word about sports from me. Good. You all heard it right here, January 2nd, 2024, the year of Neil renouncing sports.
Okie dokie, nobody cares, but fine. You and your battle with sports, that's good for you.
They took it away from you. That's for sure. They took it away from me.
Don't renounce sports. Go out and do some.
Yeah, exactly.
Round up your kids.
What'd you say? Go out and what?
Round up your couple of kids. Round up a team. Go out and play a different team. That's what you do.
Yeah, I do that with my kids. I throw the ball around with them, but, it's getting a little harder at 58.
No, you don't have to do the throwing of the ball. You can be the shouty guy telling them what they should be doing to be doing better and get them running around and their mates running around and get them playing against each other. And it'll take a lot more effort, but be a lot more rewarding. And you don't have to moan about the perceived whatever they're doing in your sports ball game that you like to watch. There you go.
You know what bothers me?
Is it something sports
related?
I
know I'm sitting on my couch, but I know the game. I could have been a coach. I could have been making these millions of dollars. So what? I was too short to play, but I know the game. I could have coached.
Okay.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Neil.
And my boys, they're at the point now. I heard Adam saying the other day that his kids are into bodybuilding, so are my kids, and they're freaking gorillas. My son looks like my middle guy looks like the Guyanese Italian Hulk. he was walking around the other night at New Year's Eve, and my brother said, "Your son looks like the Guyanese Italian Hulk," because he's so freaking like big. His back, you could play handball off his back. Kid's a gorilla.
Yeah, Adam was saying his kid's like that too.
And they don't know their own strength. I'm like, dude, you really don't realize your strength. You take it easy. He shuts the door on my car. It's like the windows are going to smash.
Right. Indeedy.
Anyway, who's going into the arena today, Nathan?
I don't know. No idea. It's going to be a very short show today because I need to set stuff up with Paul. Hopefully he'll turn up at some point.
Yeah, because short shows are good if you're going to take steps to further the channel and get more eyes and ears on you. Yes.
Right. Well, we will endeavour to do that today. It just means that we won't have quite a long show. So while I've got this space and do things on the computer, but I can't obviously use up the space to do the show and then after the show continue to kick the wife and kids out and say, no, I'm still going to be doing things with the computer. And I can't really do those things if they're running around screaming either. So yeah, I'll do that later.
Yeah, like yesterday, it felt like we were all in molasses yesterday.
Oh yeah, why is that? What you mean? As in everyone was taking the time?
No, it was just like no conversation in the after show. Very dry. Nothing. It was bad.
All right, there's a post New Year. People get like that. People get a bit down. All up to Christmas, they've been looking forward to Christmas at a particular time in the year when things are miserable. It's cold. It's dark. Not everywhere, obviously. If you're in Australia, it's very different. But in this part of the woods, your part of the woods, it's cold. It's dark. People are miserable, but they've got Christmas to look forward to. And if you can drag that out for 6 weeks, all the better. The only problem with that is there's a big lull. As soon as New Year's over, people are looking at their Christmas tree that's got no presents under it and things like that. And it's all kind of, all right, well, I'm back at work. I'm doing the normal do. Christmas is long gone. And what is it now? Just clear up the mess and get back on with life. Well, people get a bit miserable about that when they look out the window and you go, well, what shall I do today? Kids came up to me like, should I go to the park? No, it's raining. Very, very wet. Can't really be going anywhere. So it's like, well, what are you going to do tomorrow? Well, it's probably going to be raining again. You know what I mean? It's a bit like that for a couple of months, isn't it?
I understand what you're saying because I remember when I was a kid, you know, you're waiting for your toys. Christmas is the most exciting time. And then when it was over, even though I had the toys and I was good, there was like a depression that would come over you. Because you know what it is? There's this big buildup and then it's gone. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I just don't let it get you down. You know, it is that time of the year. People get seasonally affected in this particular time of the year. They get a bit mopey, a bit down. Just try and get out in the sun. That's the first thing. Don't stay in the dark all day. That makes you miserable. So yeah, try and get out in the day. Actually get out in the fresh air and the sunshine when it's out, which is limited.
Good afternoon.
Hello, how's it going?
All right, yeah, I was just talking to Michael, and before that I was on 24/7 talking with a couple of guys who are interested in back office stuff. So hopefully we can get something going because one of the guys is going to do a measurement of a frozen lake in Alaska.
Okay.
He's going to document the whole thing. He's going to use lasers, I think he said.
We're going to do, what is it, restream today, potentially for Facebook and Twitter. And then, if we've got time, I'll mosey on in. If you can stay in this format, Paul, this is the most convenient for me. So at the moment, in the same way I can be slick in terms of getting stuff up and showing it on screen to an audience fairly rapidly if I need to. Well, the same applies with if I'm working on the computer and the computer's set up like it is now for a show, and you're in one of the rooms. It's very easy for me to click on share screen, show you what I'm doing, and do it as you tell me. Tell me where to go, and I can load it. I can do that fairly rapidly if I'm set up like this, hence me wanting to do this after the show.
Yeah, this is much better for me than Skype. I find the sound quality in Skype horrible.
Because I'm on my iPad when I'm talking. It's normally because the period that I'm actually sat in front of this computer is when I'm doing the show. So that's why I'm so keen to get recording immediately, because I've only got a limited amount of time to be functionally doing this with nobody around me. I mean, they're just in a different room, but in an apartment, that means they're in a very small space for however long the show runs. I was just saying this to Neil, actually. So once this shorter show finishes, there's an expectation from my family that I'm going to be in here for a certain amount of time. So rather than recording and doing an after show, well, it's just like, well, okay, that's the end of the live show. Bye, guys. You'll stay. Everyone else will go. And we'll do what we need to do. I'll either, if there's loads of people in this room, Paul, I'll start a new one. So I'll just they can continue to chat in that room, and then you and I will be in a different G+ room. Then the last thing we'll do, if we do this a couple of times, I don't know how keen you are to help me. If I'm a pain in the ass after the show today, then probably you'll be less inclined. But either way, actually, I don't know what I'm saying. We've known each other for quite a long time now. You know how big a pain in the ass I am.
So, yeah, I helped Neil fix one of his son's computers via Element, and that was not quick and easy. So this will be a joy compared to that.
Well, it's not the computery aspect that I'm worried about you having problems with. It's me, because I'm a pain in the ass, as you well know. But if
I don't know, Neil's quite grumpy some of the time, especially when his team loses. Yeah, that matters. But there we are.
Don't mention that. He's just gone through that with us just before he got here.
That's all rigged, Neil, anyway. Don't worry.
That's a good attitude.
I felt bad because Paul gives me his phone, right? And I'm trying to get it to work. So I'm on the phone with him when we're trying to set it up. And I thought we got disconnected. I didn't know he was still on. And in the middle of all of this, trying to get it to work, I said, hey, it's freaking phone. That's why you can't beat iPhone. iPhone's the best. And then I hear Paul say, well, try this. I was like, oh, shit. I sound like an ungrateful bastard right now. I didn't know he was still on the phone.
I'm glad it's you now. For like a year and a half, it was me moaning about a really expensive computer that he gave me. No good deed goes unpunished, Neil. I should be directing that to Paul. No good deed goes unpunished, Paul.
Well, I did have a little break, if you recall. So.
Don't blame you. You do all these nice things for people, and all you get back is, it doesn't work, this doesn't work, make this work, make that work.
That's what it sounded like, too. I was like, oh, my God, he was on the phone. I thought I got disconnected. Anyway, I'm sorry, Paul. I greatly appreciate what you do. No doubt about it. You're the best.
The thing that your
mobile contract, Neil, shouldn't be difficult to sort. That's probably a half an hour thing. We can do one day this week.
In the chat yesterday, Neil, you said words to the effect of Paul's our resident millionaire.
I said Paul's our resident millionaire. I was joking.
You laugh. It annoyed me a little bit, right? Paul is no different to almost beyond his overt generosity, let's say. He's no different financially to a lot of the people that watch. He's not a millionaire. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Paul. He's just very, very generous. But if you say things like that in the chat, people will get the wrong idea, Neil.
I see what you're saying. I mean, come on. Nobody thought. I thought he's a millionaire. It's a joke. But I got what you're saying. People in chat take it the wrong way. I got you.
I sometimes stress this.
Sorry, Paul.
Go on.
No, I was just saying I'm sorry. Sorry you're a millionaire.
He's not. I'm sure he's not. You're missing my point. My point is that in the past, I made this mistake many, many years ago when somebody started giving me, $50 super chats here and there. I'm like, oh, this guy is obviously well off. No, he wasn't. He was just an average guy. He just saw the importance in what I do, so therefore gave me money. Right now, it wasn't that he had lots of surplus money to give, but what he could, he did, out of the goodness of his heart, and that is no different for anybody who contributes. Yeah. Now, I try and extend that mentality when I give a couple of quid here and there to a few people via the super chat and just try and encourage that behaviour, obviously at my very limited financial detriment, because I don't give out a great deal of money. I haven't got it to give. But I just want to show the willing, because in the same vein, no, I'm not a millionaire either, but everyone has means. And everyone's means are limited, including Paul's and everybody else who's generous towards me and the show. But if people see, oh, well, that guy's just got 50 quid to throw away. No, that person hasn't got 50 quid to throw away. They see value in giving that money to me. And I recognise that implicitly. And I want to stress it. That's why I'm saying it now to you, Neil. It's to everyone in general, just so that they appreciate that I recognise when people have worked very hard to earn the money that they have got to then give it to me in recognition of the hard work I do. Now, that is a mutual thing, as opposed to, oh, it's just got money to throw away. Well, that demeans the work I'm doing, and it demeans the value in the money they're giving me. It does two things, and I don't like it. That was all. I'm not telling you off, but I'm just saying if you oh, look at this guy, he's a millionaire, he's giving out $100 super chats. Do you know that? I'm pretty sure it probably won't be.
Yeah, it was a joke, Nathan. That's why I was laughing.
Although it's true across all types of people. When I've met millionaires, the working millionaires, not the inherited millionaires, but the people who've worked to earn their millions, they are tighter. Not always, generally. They are tighter. They are more conscientious about what they will perceive their money to go on, and they always expect service or goods for it. Now, if something's being offered for free, there's a good chance that your average savvy millionaire won't give somebody money simply because they have surplus of it. In my experience, and I've dealt with lots of millionaires, when I was selling hi-fis that cost up to £1 million, I kid you not, you can imagine that the people I was dealing with that had 100 grand stereos, were rich, very rich, and tight for the most part, tighter than your blue collar or average Joe white collar guy who's earning a living and gives me money. They're not the people that I used to deal with when I was a rep traveling around the world. They're very different. Their mentality towards financial affairs are very, very different to the people who give me money. I just want to assure you of that, Neil. So when you say this person's a millionaire, no, he probably wouldn't be giving me money if he was.
Holy shit, it was a joke. What's wrong with you? No kidding.
I'm not having a go at you or telling you off. It's just a useful example that shows an audience, or my audience in this particular example, that I do recognise that when someone gives me a money, even if it's a larger amount of money, that it isn't because they're just full of money. They've got bags of money to throw. I don't think of it in that way. Quite the contrary. Hence me thanking absolutely everybody who ever sends me money by any means whatsoever. And if it's Paul, as we're talking about him now, I hope he's had profusive thanks for the generosity I've received from him. And I appreciate that he's had to work to get that money. And if he didn't work, he wouldn't have had that money to buy me items to keep the show running. And that gratitude that I extend to him is because I'm appreciative that he's had to work to be able to put himself in a position to do that. He hasn't just got stacks of money sat around that he can throw out the window. And he's not throwing it out the window when he throws it my direction. That's just what I want to stress, Neil. It's not because I'm having a go at you. It just highlighted that point, as opposed to me saying, oh, you saying he's a millionaire, he needs telling off. Sorry to talk past you, Paul, like you're not even here. That probably made you feel deeply uncomfortable. I'm really sorry.
I dealt with millionaires too. I dealt with millionaires too. And the ones that are more successful, you know what? They're the ones that give. That's a proven fact. When they release, it comes back to them. The ones that are tight, yeah, they may still be millionaires, but they're bitter bastards.
Reminds me of a Simpsons episode when the guy who's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger character, you know what I mean? I can't remember what they call him in Simpsons, but he's a big buff foreign Arnold Schwarzenegger archetype. And he does something horrible in the plot. And Homer says, how do you sleep at night? He says, on a big bed of money.
Bed of money.
Or
Can't take it with him, though.
Or Smithers and Burns. He opens the vault and he's got all these jewels and money literally stacked up. And he's looking down in the mouth is Monty Burns. And Smithers says, "What's wrong?" And he says, "Oh, Smithers, I'd trade it all for just a little bit more."
Afternoon, Brian. Great video. I've got a couple of replies
I
already
haven't
to my
watched your
comments.
video yet, Brian, but I love the title.
Wait, what did I miss? What's the title?
I can't remember.
It's a good title.
Oh, elevation angle, triangle of doom, or something like that.
It was something like that. Triangle of Doom.
Yeah.
It's something like that. I haven't watched it. I'm really sorry. Tell us what it's about.
It's actually two things. Sorry?
It's us stepping out. We'll get our timing right eventually there, Brian. What is your video about?
I actually could have made two separate videos because I had two things in. It's about, so it's 36 minutes long, but it's actually two videos, really, because what I'm pointing out is what an elevation angle is. Something QE has. No, I'm not supposed to do it. QE has been trying to do it for a long time. Is not two lines meeting at a vertex. It's not just some angle, right? It's a right angle triangle with the right angle part at the GP of the celestial body.
Versus global
something that has been. Sorry.
It's you interrupting yourself. I'm trying to get your video queued up.
Angles are always right angle triangles because that's what
Brian,
an angle of elevation is. Both an angle of elevation and an angle of depression are right angle triangles. But our opposition don't want to accept this because they want to be able to create a tangent plane, which would be off of their globe.
Sorry, Brian. Okay, so just for the benefit of anybody watching this in the after show or pre-show as it is, I will watch this. It's 36 minutes long, so I'm not going to be able to squeeze it into the 15 minutes before we go live. But I will watch it later for certain. I like your videos, Brian. But yeah, I'll stick a share video. I'll share the video in the chat. Sorry, Brian. Okay.
Thank you. But what I'll do is I'll give a rendition of what it's about. I basically am pointing out where they won't accept that the elevation angle used in celestial navigation is the same elevation angle that's used in astronomy, basically. And it's always a right angle triangle, always, with the right angle part at the GP of the celestial body, which means that's a horizontal measurement between the observer and the celestial body. And even in some of their own, even within their own diagrams, where before they're bringing the measured angle down to the center of their globe, they're actually making sure in their own diagram that the horizontal line goes underneath the celestial body. So the point being is that they're denying the right angle triangle that is an elevation angle. They're literally denying and I show what the elevation angle is from 2 or 3 reputable sources that show that the horizontal and even state that the horizontal line must go underneath the object, right? Whether it be it must be at the base of a tower you're measuring the height of, or underneath a celestial body, for it to be an angle of elevation. The same for an angle of depression. It must be over the top of the object. So for it to be an angle of depression. Point being is that it's not just 2 lines meeting at a vertex. It's actually a right angle triangle, because there's a difference, right? That's just an angle as opposed to an angle of elevation or an angle of depression. But I go on to show how they deny it and then they use it in astronomy, right? Although I don't emphasize too much on astronomy, but they use it in astronomy at equinox, right? Because all the angles are assumed to be from the equatorial plane, when there is no tilt, right, to their globe, and the base of the angle extends into the celestial plane, which means it extends past the extents, the physical extents of what is the mathematical globe Earth, right? And it's not physical because it's not real, but within their paradigm, it extends past the 3,959 miles, which a lot of elevation angles in celestial navigation do. But I go on then further to point out that when they do parallax, right, when they're doing parallax of the moon, when they do parallax of the moon, they're using 2 right-angle triangles, right, and they're using a chord line. They measure it first, just like with Astronomy Live and Red's Rhetoric did. They measure it first on a horizontal plane, and then they add the R value, right, which turns that length that they measured into a shorter length and makes it a chord length, right? But they're still using 2 right-angle triangles, right? Now, what they do is, when they're using the right-angle triangle, what they do, which is incorrect, right? They actually start giving a height to something, right? They start measuring lengths of sides and all this, which is fine for terrestrial objects, but not for celestial. You can't give a height to the celestials. And I read out 5 citations from reputable sources stating that the angle of elevation to a celestial body does not include the height. You're not claiming a height in feet, meters, or miles or anything else to the celestial body.
Just one sec.
Right. So I'm going to put this in the. This is from NASA. This is a special. I put this in the description. This is a special begging the question PDF. So you can beg the question along with NASA, right? So how did they determine this? I'm going to go through how they determined it. Then I'm going to go show this and some of the other images I have, right? So the 9 steps. Let's bring it down a bit. The 9 steps of delusion. Right. This is the globe's 9 steps of delusion for how you get.
Oh, sorry. I thought I'd landed on your citations. Is it before or after this?
Oh, the citations are prior to that. They're closer to the start of it. Because I
want to hear the 9 steps.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just play the 9 steps because that's the second part. That's like a second video within a video one. But it's also connected to. You'd have to watch the whole thing. It's directly connected to the parallax.
Well, what you've covered, from what I was seeing scanning through it, was what you've covered really concisely in those first 20 minutes, which is to say their chord line, their assertion of a horizontal baseline, their insertion of R, something that is... It cannot be understated how profound that was when Smokescreen Design first pointed it out. Now, at the time, we didn't realise how strong that was as an argument. We just said, oh, you're just assuming R. And we didn't recognise even then, with it right in front of our face, look, you have to measure a flat line and then insert the R value. Which bit did we take from that? You have to insert the measurement of R? They didn't have a measurement. They got that from a flat baseline too. But when they're doing this, as you showed in your depictorial examples in this video, Brian, they're ascertaining the measurement from a flat baseline. And to quote refracted curvature, you guys need a flat Earth more than we do. End quote, refracted curvature.
Exactly. And I also point out, I go back into something I pointed out in a video I made, I think about a month or so ago, where I pointed out that to get the 1 degree of angular change, to find out what 60 nautical miles were, they needed to find out what 1 nautical mile was. But they needed to find out what 1 degree of angular change to Polaris was, right? In statute miles. Statute miles are horizontal straight miles. And I show all this with reference to reference from reputable sources on what the statute mile is, which means that the statute mile is for them to determine what 1 degree of angular change was to Polaris or for Polaris. They had to travel 69.04 horizontal miles and then divide that by 60, which gave them a 1.1508 statute mile to nautical mile ratio, showing that nautical miles are horizontals. They're not an arc length. And I even go in as far as showing how a 1 inch is a straight line, right? There's 12 of them in 1 foot, right? 1 foot is a straight line, and there's 5,280 of these straight lines in 1 mile, statute mile, which is a straight line. And then there's 69.04 of them in 1 degree of angular change. So there's just no way out of it. I went back to the smallest denominated, the smallest ratio, which was the denomination, which was an inch. Then I went to foot. Then I went to mile. I showed with with citation or reference, backing it up that or citation, but I don't know which one it was, to show that they were all horizontals, all straight lines, and that's another element. But what's coming up now is me attacking, because if you look at that parallax, a lot of the time that parallax will involve the sun, right? So the 9 steps, you can play that part, that'll be good fun, of globe delusion
to the sun. Step 1, pre-assume that you live on a globe Earth with a radius of 3,959 statute miles. Step 2, pre-assume that Venus is also a spherical planet of equal size, equal or close enough size, right? Step 3, pre-assume that the sun is a big sphere of gas and plasma in a vacuum. Step 4, compare the angular size of Venus with the angular size of the sun during Venus's transit of the sun. Step 5, determine via angular size differential in accordance with your previous pre-assumptions about the Earth, Venus, and the Sun, that Venus is a particular distance from a globe Earth via its angular size, and that therefore the Sun is a particular distance from a globe Earth via its angular size. Step 6, claim that you know the distance to the Sun because you know the distance to Venus, and that you know the distance to Venus because you know the distance to the Sun, circular reasoning. Step 7, claim that you know all this because you pre-assume that the Earth is a globe with an unmeasured radius of 3,959 statute miles. Step 8, ignore the fact that you needed to make up a size for Venus for you to complete your ad hoc calculations. And step 9, most important step, really, really, really ignore the fact that you need to use angular sizes for your calculations, even though angular size is a function of perspective, and perspective is not accounted for in globe Earth mathematics, as those maths are orthographic only, even though perspective is actually the thing that was hijacked and back engineered to calculate a globe Earth into existence to begin with. Step 9 is the most important step. Now,
that was outstanding, Brian. I gotta give you credit, man. When you make these videos, Brian, they're so informative, and like you're hanging on every word because they're so informative and correct. Hats off to you, man.
Thanks. Thank you very much. What I like to do, even though my videos sometimes are long, I like to really keep on reiterating where all these things come from, like their global maths and all. I might say, like I think I said in that video, must have been 4 or 5 times, that maybe more, that the globe came from flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris. It was the back engineering, mathematical back engineering, because that's all it is. You know, I always call the globe a mockery of mathematics. I call it, because these are things that. Go on, sorry.
That would make a great series title, Globe Math Origins. Like for multiple series of like, oh, here's another piece of the globe math. This is where it came from.
Well, look, the main premise of that video, besides other things, now, the main premise of that video is that they are trying to argue that there's no right-angled triangles being measured in celestial navigation when they are creating circles of equal altitude. But that is obviously false, right? And I show why it's false. And I show the hypocrisy, because they themselves use right-angled triangles all the time when they're dealing with celestial bodies. But when it comes to celestial navigation, they don't want to address them. They don't want to address these right-angled triangles, because they destroy them. They destroyed their whole paradigm, because that means that there's a horizontal distance being measured, even though their own diagrams show a right-angled triangle being measured and then being moved down to the equatorial plane of a globe. You know, they don't want to address that. And that's what it was the main point. But there was a lot more in it that I added in.
You guys see the clip I put on Skype from the new Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah, I did. I only saw that movie recently, and that stood out to me. It was very good.
You want to hear it?
Yes.
If I've got the line open. There we go.
Fissures in time. Fissures in time? You can't prove that! Not yet! Proving it is what makes it science!
The whole movie is about Archimedes and his maths, and that maths resulting in time travel.
No. The maths gives you the points on Earth where space-time bending leads you to other places in time. So it's like a map.
Yeah, space-time is purely mathematical. It gives you the points in the maths in space-time.
It's purely mathematical until you run into a black hole.
That's what I said. It's purely mathematical. The maths gives them the time travel ability. But ironically, in that particular section, he's like, this is unproven, and if it was proven, it would be science. Well, kind of a bit of a fallacy there. But nevertheless, his sentiment is our sentiment, isn't it? Well, prove it. If it's a cause and effect relationship, then you can prove it with science.
Well, it's mostly in that point, like, how can you chase something when you literally don't know if it's actually true? Like, proving it makes it science, right? It's like, no, the guy's already assuming, like, no, this is real. We're going to do that. We're going to make all these sacrifices to do it. Well, Indiana Jones is like, you don't know if that's real at all. You have no actual evidence.
Yeah, because the scientific method starts with observing a phenomena. Something has happened that you've seen occur and you want to know why. Whereas in the pseudoscience world that we live in currently, it's if I've got a fantasy in a mathematical, reified, fourth-dimensional space-time, then how can I travel through time in this conceptual medium of space-time developed by Einstein? Let's go about figuring that out and spend billions on various different machines that will get us to figuring out how we can utilize this pseudo-geometry to get us through time. Pathetic, really, isn't it?
It sounds like you're just opposed to time travel, Nathan.
Say again, sorry, John.
It just sounds like you're opposed to time travel at this point, Nathan.
Let's get it on.
Hello.
Hey, good afternoon.
Woohoo!
Hello. Good to hear you all. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge that's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
I would like to take the chance to say happy birthday to the Black Swan. 2020 was 4 years ago, 1st of January. No, we don't have a physical curvature anymore.
Yeah, shout out to Taboo Conspiracy, Ben, who put out a, if you like, anniversary edition, because he put it out yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I forget which, but just a nice, succinct summary of a Black Swan example alongside a really good rendition of the original Black Swan to give the consistency of the modus tollens argument through an explanation of how that physically works, with the horizon being behind oil rigs where it's supposed to be in front of you according to globe earth maths, with physical hill obstructions at 1.2 miles. Well, when it's beyond a oil rig at 10 miles, you can say that that hill that's claimed to be physically blocking things in earth curve maths can't physically get up and put itself behind things it's supposed to be blocking, debunking the notion that the horizon is earth curve. Shout out to you, Taboo Conspiracy. Great job. Nice to see it coming out sort of early, first or 2nd of January, whichever it may be. Yeah, to mark 4 years of the Black Swan. Awesome debunking of the main claim of Earth's sphericity, which is to say that the horizon is earth curve. It isn't. We debunked it in 2020.
So who wins the bet? Remember we had a bet on how long it would take for them to get this argument, and I said never. They'll never get it. So I win.
Well, you're talking about when will fundamentalist religious zealots with a bald belief get an argument that completely contradicts their position and demolishes it in all aspects? No, zealots don't tend to relinquish zealotry, Neil. When you say they, you mean the anti-flat earth zealots.
Yeah, that's why I said they'll never get it.
my prediction was 40% of them will never get it, and they'll have to be sat down when they're older and have it go through night classes to explain it to them. They still won't get it. That was my prediction, because I knew some people would get it. Refracted being the best example. But the people who don't get it, it's not that they don't get it, and refracted will vouch for this, it's that they can't get it because of what it means.
Right.
So,
they'll have to relinquish their belief in the ball. No doubt.
Yeah, exactly. And just on the back of what Nathan said, Ben Taboo Conspiracy backed up exactly what he said. Not with just maths from, let's say, QE or Adam or anyone else. He backed it up with AutoCAD, which can't be argued with. You know what I mean? He showed through AutoCAD what it would have to be if the horizon was that far away. It would mean that there'd be a diameter of 30 miles away from a 1 foot observation line or whatever it was. He actually used 1.5 feet, but he should have gone to 1 foot because BLMSB 69 does go to 1 foot in that video. But the point is, or another video maybe he does that, but the point is that through AutoCAD he showed that there must be a diameter to a globe airplane of 3 million miles, because there's going to be a radius of 1.5 million. So, you know, there's no arguing it. It is what it is.
It's
but it can't be ignored.
It's a very concise demolishment of the globe argument. But moving through to 2024 with all these triangles flashing up on screen, plug for Brian's logic. So go and check out Brian's most recent video. I'm going to put a live stream chat link to it. We've been covering it in the pre-show and having a good laugh at some of the aspects that Brian summarised at the end with his 9-point plan to beg the question of a sphere Earth. And I want you to all check it out. I haven't actually watched it myself, although you can see it having a like here. I've only watched what I watched in the pre-show with Brian, with him summarising what he did in the first 20 minutes of it. But in essence, Brian's summarising how you'll need a flat plane to measure claim to be sphere-proving elevation angles. And as I say, they're flashing by on screen constantly when we describe how Earth is measured flat. Did someone want to add something from Discord? Go ahead. On deck.
Is that the horizon that they're claiming is the Earth curve? Is that the same horizon that's used in celestial navigation to obtain the horizontal baseline? And also the horizon that's used in aeroplanes to ensure that the aeroplane is kept level?
Correct. You're talking about a tool utilised to establish a horizontal plane of reference.
But that's not the same horizon.
Yes.
No, one deck, it's not. The horizon that's used as a reference in aerospace and as a reference with celestial navigation is the real horizon. The horizon they're speaking about is mathematical only, and it's underneath the surface.
I don't think he was inferring anything outside of our own reality, Brian. You're so used to people inferring that there should be a demolishment of a globe claim within their affirmation of what the horizon is. But I don't think One Deck was inferring that in any way. Were you, One Deck?
Well, no, I was just inferring that the horizon that they claim to be a globe is actually used to, in celestial navigation, maintain the horizontal baseline, so that it's nothing to do with the globe. And I presumed, Brian, that in an aeroplane, the horizon is used as a reference to keep the plane level.
Well, it is.
So
I mean,
everywhere you look at it, all you're looking at is horizontals and levels at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, celestial navigation, they do dip correction based off the height of the observer's eye. And that dip correction, like the correction that's made, only fits a flat plane. It doesn't fit where their globe's horizon would be. The dip to their globe's horizon is not the dip correction. The dip correction only fits a flat plane. But aerospace,
like on the marine,
they create a parallel. They're creating a parallel horizontal to the horizon. They, but that's like so. But the point is that I know you know this, but I was just saying it for the audience. The point is that horizon is not the horizon they're speaking about. The horizon they're speaking about is a mathematical thing that exists below the surface.
And it is that
that's our curve.
And it is that exactly. And it is that mathematical below surface level, only in existence in the maths horizon, that is claimed to be, falsely claimed, debunked by the Black Swan, the horizon that we see. But it is not. I now see why you wanted to reiterate that point, Brian, in spite of Wandex not attempting to make it a claim of what it wasn't. Your point is that for them to assert this mathematical only horizon below surface level in their mathematics, they do so by saying it is the horizon we see. Well, it isn't. We've debunked that. We debunked it in 2020.
Wait a second. Horizons are visual, not mathematical. And it can't happen on a sphere. There are no horizons on a globe.
No, but that's correct. But the horizon they've conjured within the maths of a globe is claimed by globe heads to be our horizon that we see. We have shown that it is not.
There would be horizons on a globe. Just to say there are no horizons on a globe is there is no globe. That's the trouble. But if you were on a globe, there would be horizons, and those horizons would be geometric limitations. That's what doesn't exist.
Yeah,
geometric limitations.
In the same way they can physically show you a boat going over a ball, that would be the case. Well, in the way that if you've got a basketball and a Lego boat going over the curve of it, when you force the perspective in such a way that there's a limitation at a leading edge that the boat can be physically beyond. Well, if you set that up, there is no instance where, well, you've set the camera up, you've put the Lego boat so it's behind the basketball just slightly so you can just see the sails, and then you come back an hour later with it all set up exactly the same, and suddenly the thing that was blocking the boat, the basketball, is now behind the Lego boat. That can't happen. The limitation to your view is what they are asserting. The whole calculation of Earth curve is based on hidden values. What's it hidden behind? The physical hill that gets in the way, called Earth curve. They mark it with an X and call it the horizon. But that horizon is a mathematical conjuring. It doesn't exist in reality. They just say, well, that's our horizon. What, the one below the surface level that is needed to ascertain in order to conjure this maths in the first instance. In order to have a geometric limitation below surface level, you have to be able to establish a horizontal plane of reference. That's surface level. To infer that there's a geometric limitation below that surface level that you've just ascertained in the maths. It's absurd. They're saying there's two horizons. We covered this in 2020. First thing we did. There's only one horizon. And the horizon in there, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective, hijacking Earth curve, mathematics, is below surface level. That must be ascertained somehow. Well, it's a reference plane that you'll use to get it. Well, what's that? Well, it's surface level. And it's level. Must be. So when they came back to us in 2021, because they'd finally caught up with a rebuttal that they might have something to give some legs to, or at least perceive to have some legs to, they're telling us about the geometric limitation that's also in existence beyond the geometric that you cannot see. So their physical hill that they claim is below surface level in their maths cannot be seen because it's not that, it's refracted. Okay? Well, if you've got surface level giving you a horizontal plane of reference to derive your below surface level geometric horizon that you can't see, then you can't see it. All you're ever claiming to see is refraction. Well, that's not proving the very premise of the Earth curve maths in the first instance, which is to prove we've got Earth curve. Oh, we've got Earth curve, but it just moves here, there, and everywhere, depending on the weather. Well, then how are you proving that we've got one? Well, it's below surface level in the maths marked with an X labelled horizon. You just can't see that horizon ever. Okay. That's a bit of a problem. Where are you going to get your derivation to say that we've got a horizon below surface level? Well, by inferring that we've got a radius value for a sphere that we claim we're on in the first place, to say that below the surface level, with a dangling circle, radius 3959, that horizon, at that tangent point, that we cannot see and will never be seen because it's always refracted, is the geometric limitation we're trying to prove called Earth curve, the hill that should block your view of these boats and buildings. I see.
Objection.
What's the problem?
Geometric horizon cannot exist if the Earth is curving.
Oh, well, they get around that by the coup de grace for them, although they thought this in 2022, when they told us that level, that's the surface level, the horizontal plane of reference that's used to derive the R value and to infer that there's a geometric horizon, isn't actually level. Level doesn't mean level. Level means conforming to the surface of a sphere Earth based on the sea that moves around a sphere Earth that we automatically assume. Check out this Merriam-Webster definition. And as soon as they do, I'm nearly there, John. As soon as they do say that level isn't level, we come back to point one, don't we? What, the geometric horizon below surface level in your maths that is unequivocally and must be level to get any of these maths to work. But you're saying that surface level in your maths isn't level. Well, then your maths doesn't work anymore. Not that it did when you were claiming you couldn't see the hill that got in the way that's now refracted below the surface level that is horizontal, that you used to ascertain the R value when you measured Earth flat to get an R value. Go ahead, John.
The geometric horizon was calculated from a differential angle between eye level and where surface level appears to meet the sky. If you curve a level, you don't have an angle anymore.
It's the same surface level in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve mathematics. The differential between eye level and surface level to derive an R value is the same level, not curved surface level in their maths. Isn't it?
Well, what's
if
actually
you curve
going on?
that,
Yeah, you can't curve that. It's a principle in geometry for their assertion that must be level, having no part higher or lower than the other.
But
So then how do you have a horizon on a globe?
You don't.
You don't. There's a reason why. There's a reason why it's purely mathematical. Because they back engineered flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris that were horizontal measurements. Back engineered them, and they took all the south ends of the longitude lines and made them all meet together, like they all meet at the north. And that is all they needed to do. After that, everything was mathematical, because that was mathematical. There was no more need for anything else. That is the beginning and the end. Once they did that, that was the creation of the globe.
And that was the necessity to lie. Do you remember, Brian, do you remember in 2017 what Rumpus would go around saying in this regard when we were none the wiser and totally ignorant to the subject of navigation? What did the Rumpus used to say about sextants?
That they proved the globe.
That they only worked on a globe.
Yes, that's
what they had to do is lie. We are now righteous in our declarations when we say you can't have a horizon on a globe. Does that not sound very similar to the kind of nonsense that turn out to be lies from people like Rumpus when they were overtly peddling the confidence trickster methodology that's been perpetuated by our opponents ever since? Which is to say, lie, a sextant which unequivocally cannot work on a sphere and can only establish an angle through a horizontal plane of reference. That is what it is defined as doing and does. He lied. Only works on a globe, you say? No, you can't get an elevation angle. It's now a housekeeping question. They needed to lie. Why? Well, because when they did, it shattered the confidence of the person who hears it, scares them off looking at it. That's why they did it. But they had to lie to do it. Now we're in a position where the tides have turned. We can say, a sextant only works on a flat Earth, just like Rumpus used to. That's the attitude I want to take forth into 2024. Their attitude was only propagating lies, like tricksters and con artists do when they say things like sextants only work on a globe, when they prove a flat Earth. They have to be overly confident about things like sextants, in the case of Rumpus, because they can't let it be known that we have possibly the most sticky wicket we've ever been on with this particular tool, the sextant. It proves a flat Earth. So that's what we should be doing. Just like Rumpus did. Gen up all the confidence you'd like in all the people around you by telling those around you who challenge us that these particular devices only work on a flat Earth. That's one step beyond what I've suggested up until now, which is take the inference that they will throw at you that Earth's proven to be spherical with X, Y, or Z, and take X and Y and Z and show how flat Earth's needed to use it. Negate all of it. Do what the Rumpus did. Sextants don't work on a globe. Go trolling all of these channels that are anti-flat Earth, just like Rumpus did. One comment, sextants don't work on a globe. Sorry, whoever I was ranting over, go ahead. Or Neil's indicator, which was just as lovely.
I was just going to say, they used to say that you can't have a horizon on a flat Earth. I always heard that, constantly.
Yeah, and we should do the same, because it's true. They were lying. They had hijacked perspective, and when they infer that you transpose their hijacking of perspective back onto a plane of reality that is flat in an orthographic vision, then you don't have a horizon because you've got two parallel lines that never converge. Their lines converge when you put a ball between them with a physical limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, you have got a horizon when you ignore perspective. But you don't when you ignore perspective on a flat Earth. That was their actual argument. No. Let's go forth on the front foot. You can't have a horizon on a globe. Right, we've got a video to cover today. All I've got is that little clip I covered from yesterday on the Indiana Jones movie.
I just put something in the back office. I've watched it on double speed, and I think it's worth covering, even though it is very annoying.
What is it?
It's from that Jubilee channel that Dan the Waterman was on all those years ago, and it's got 700,000 views. So.
Okay, well, hopefully a few people have gone to Brian's video in the meantime. If not, as he's one of our own, I'm going to share his link first. So go and check out Brian's Logic's channel. If you've not already subscribed, there's a lot of people who come here by comparison to Brian's channel. Don't get me wrong, this is not a big channel. But there's a lot of you that could be subscribed to Brian. And, you know, if you're anything like me, you'll want to steal his stuff and then take credit for it afterwards. You know, so check him out.
I did put a few videos the other day into Master B concerning gravity is not a force. And one of the guys' videos that I put in there, this guy Edward Current, he recently made another video. Very strangely, just after basically around the same time as I shared it in Master B, his video of gravity is not a force, going through the equivalence principle and that, he made another video on the topic just recently. And QE shared it with me and said to me that he had actually left a comment, but his comment disappeared. And I left a comment on it, and my comment that I'm aware of at present has yet to be addressed by this guy. But this guy really does his best to make 9.8 meters per second squared upward, not an acceleration. And this guy, Edward Current is his name. He's quite the dodgy guy, quite dodgy. Yeah, I'm not saying we should cover him today, but we should definitely cover him this week, because you will hear more about him when QE comes on.
Go on, Adam. Go on, Adam. Break the flow up. It's really going well. Has my computer crashed? Has it all died?
That's the first link, Nathan, after the meet in back office. And then the second is a timestamp to jump past a very long advert about juice or something that comes on at 5 minutes or so.
Okay, so can I start at the 5 minute mark then? Is that good?
Well, I think it's best to start at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
I definitely believe in an objective truth.
What would my answer be? Do I believe the truth is subjective or objective? Earth's measured flat. Does it matter what I believe or disbelieve or what is subjective or objective when we can measure it? Now, that is objectively measuring it flat. What do you want? Do you want to know my political views? Who gives a toss?
But the truth is not a belief anyway.
Exactly.
The whole question was terrible. You know what I mean? Do you believe the truth is this or that? It's like, you can't believe something about truth. It is what it is.
Yeah, they've had to qualify their own subjective belief in a sphere for so many years and qualify it and double speak themselves into thinking that that's a reality. So when it comes to someone else working outside of that paradigm, they have to question it on the grounds of whether or not you've got an objective or subjective belief in the thing that they have a subjective belief in.
Truth.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of ridicule. There's a lot of hate when people believe in something different. And I find it fascinating, really.
Yeah, well, we've just decided in 2024, mate, that we're going to put an end to it. So as much as it's not your fault that you came into this subject like we all did through the Feast of Nonsense on that particular path, well, now times have changed. You know, we're getting a bit older and we're tired of telling people about their subjective beliefs and fighting with them and telling them that they've been lied and explaining how they've been indoctrinated. To be honest, I don't care. All right, you grew up with a globe belief. My kids didn't. But who cares? It's not relevant, is it? Whether or not we were brainwashed and indoctrinated into believing we were on a sphere, what matters is the reality of the world. And it is flat. It is measured flat. It is moved upon flat. Built upon flat. Obviously, observably, navigably flat. What else do you need to know? Know, not believe. You need to know how it's measured flat. Yeah, I can tell you how it's measured flat. You got a GPS system, it's using a flat grid, not curved, with reference to sea level. Level, flat.
Well,
but we know that spherical and flat is the same, right? You just use a bit of math, and then all that flat stuff, including the angles, you could just bend it around a globe. That's what they do.
No.
We were allowed to do that.
Just to expand on the GPS point, because I've heard you bring it up a few times, Nathan. What GPS is using is the Universal Transverse Mercator map. Now, right, but that's what it's using, claimed to be used overall across the whole world. But what it's using when it's dealing with your position, it's using local horizontal and local vertical. And these are often converted then to match the Universal Transverse Mercator projection. Why it's doing that is because the Universal Transverse Mercator projection is a globe projection as a cylinder map, right? But the problem with that is it's not correct. The sizes, Google Maps uses Universal Transverse Mercator, but the sizes of the continents on that are not correct. And the countries are not correct. Just like when Google Earth, I think, used the Universal Transverse Mercator, and the sizes of the countries and continents are not correct in accordance to each other, I think, on that as well. I could be wrong about that point. Well, but the point is that, right. What's this, leave me, just, what did you say, Arwen? Sorry.
Are there any maps where the scale is perfectly consistent?
No.
Overall?
Well, the only maps where there is correct scale is Ordnance Survey maps. But even them will try to...
He means world map. The context he was asking you. Is there any world map?
No, there is no correct world map. I know how to create the most correct one we have ever had. It doesn't mean it'll be correct. But the most correct one, I know how to create that. I've laid that out with the time zones. But the point I'm making is, when the people come up with GPS and think of GPS, they're thinking about how these satellites in the sky are giving a receiver all this information via just this signal, and the receiver just knows where it is off of that. There is a load of other stuff that goes on with it that even if we lived on a globe, if you go by how they officially say GPS works, even if we did live on a globe, they'd be still lying because it can't work that way because it's impossible. How they say it works is impossible. So GPS doesn't prove it's a globe. GPS, it's kind of funny. GPS does prove the Earth is... GPS is using a flat plane. And how GPS actually works, as I showed in my presentation, you could do that on a globe, but the problem is you couldn't use the coordinate system in the same way. You would still have to make the globe into a flat map, no matter what you do. But the point is that with GPS, it's a series of crossing lines that that the receiver finds its location, finds your location. It's a series of crossing lines. It's not, right? It's not, you are getting signals from several different sources or information from several different sources, but the point is it's not, it doesn't work even if we lived on a globe. This is the real GPS argument. It doesn't work. Even if we lived on a globe, it wouldn't work and can't work, as they say. So no matter what, they're not just saying, like, they're lying to everyone when they're saying it works that way, because it can't. I've shown how it's impossible. And I've shown how the only way it can work, and there is no way around that. There is no other way for it to work. The point I'm making here is it's hard for people to take on board.
What's the name of the video where you do that? Because I'm sharing your video now that was the one we discussed in the pre-show. But
It's a whole presentation of the Ballbusters. I don't know which one. It's a Ballbusters presentation.
Okay, well, going by in the chat right now is a link to Brian's channel and his most recent video, which is called Right Angle Elevation Triangle of Doom. Go and subscribe today. But also, there's a Ballbusters presentation on GPS in there somewhere. So go and check that out. I just want to hear the last few comments from this particular video, which is Jubilee, and then I'll do a little call to action and round out the live show.
I don't. It doesn't really bother me. There's trolls out there, or as Taylor Swift would say, the haters will hate. It's fine.
Just throw it. I'm so sorry for that.
Okay, alrighty then. So this video, as I say, was Find the Flat Earther by Jubilee, and I didn't do this at the beginning, but I'm going to do it now. So if you are watching, because we are still live, in the live stream chat, just bring it up so you can see, I do a call to action that will hopefully get you all to go to this person's channel and let them know in the comments section, offering them the algorithmic love that we do not receive, a comment that suggests we have responded to your video. And hopefully they would do the same for us, were they to respond to us and critique us in regards to our disdain towards some of the aspects that they've covered in their video. Nevertheless, please let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And like I say, it'll boost their numbers, it'll boost their comments, and boost their algorithmic sensation that they're obviously enjoying, where we do not. So hopefully, like with all the other videos that we do cover, they would actually put a link to Nathan Oakley 1980's video. This one, in this instance, I'll put it in the live stream chat. Jubilee, prove the Earth is flat. So yeah, please let them know. There's a bit too commenty, linky, description-y going by at the moment, so it's a bit confusing with Brian and Jubilee's video links, but there we go. Hopefully I've done enough of a call to action for people to have gone there, made a quick comment, and popped their way back to hear us round out this live show. Any final comments before I do round out this live show and ask people to stay tuned if they're watching on an after show?
I have one last thing to say.
Go ahead, Brian.
About the GPS situation. Yes, GPS does, in a lot of ways, prove that the Earth is a flat plane, right? I'm not saying it doesn't, but a safer position to take is that it doesn't prove a globe. And that's the point. Because if you're saying it proves it's flat, then the onus is on you. When someone says it proves a globe, if you watch my presentations, right, and go through all of it, and don't miss section 4, which is the most important section, you will see how it wouldn't matter whether GPS could work on a globe or not, because it would the same way it would work on a globe, it would also work just as easy on a flat plane, right? The point being is that when you ask them to prove, when you look what's in the presentation, and I will do a presentation on it again in the future, it shows that it doesn't prove a globe, which is the main point. Rather than saying it proves the Earth is flat, show how it doesn't prove a globe. And when they say it does, ask them to go through the process. And if you understand what's in that presentation, you will be able to pull apart their process and show how they don't have what they need to have within what they're claiming for the receiver to find its location, because that's what GPS is. A receiver that receives information from signal senders, regardless of what people want to claim those senders are or where they are. The point is that You receive, this receiver receives this information from several sources. And how does that then, with how they say it works officially, how does that find your location? If you understand the logic, then you will realize that how it's officially claimed to work and how it's officially claimed to prove a globe, it couldn't work even if we were on a globe, which means that how they state that it works, right, it doesn't work. So how does GPS prove a globe? Rather than you saying it proves it's flat and then having to go through the big rigmarole and with them, you don't have to do that. Just ask them to show how it proves the Earth is a globe. You know what I mean? Because it was horrendous.
What was horrendous?
The guy yesterday, Neil just brought up how he was attacking Robotham. Like, if all you can do is try and character assassinate someone and you don't even address their actual arguments, then what are you doing? I mean, character assassination doesn't, like, if that's all you've got, then, you know, the Robotham already won. If all that, because that guy didn't present one argument from Robotham, really, did he? So consequently, Robotham won. As soon as someone goes to character assassinate you, regardless of whether it works or doesn't work, essentially you've won. Because if that's what the person's got, it means they don't have a rebuttal to your argument. Simple as.
Yeah, I read your comment.
Well, yesterday's was... Sorry.
Well, Adam.
Adam.
3 for 3. He wants to ruin the flow.
Happy
He's
New Year.
determined to ruin the flow of the show.
3 out of 3 today, isn't it? I've started the new year well.
Well, just get your composure, get your timing. I saw your comment, but you were inferring in the comments, Brian. Look, if we were around in the 1800s, we'd have been in awe of this guy. I know you weren't saying that, but just to make the sentiment clear. And I was like, no. We made it clear that if he was around today, I'm not saying he'd be a con artist like Dave Weiss. I'm saying we wouldn't agree with his perspective hijacking, pandering to their methodology in his debunk. And we wouldn't. So he wouldn't be on our side in that regard, because we'd be, in 2024 especially, saying, no, you need to take a very different route. But in the 1800s, if we were around, we would probably not even be concerned about the switch in paradigm to a globe that's taking place. We'd be more concerned about growing our crops or whatever we were worried about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I would say is that we don't know what progress, let's say intellectually, he would have made if he was around in today's world. We don't, like, he might have, we all went through the Feast of Nonsense. We all went through the whole, hijacking of perspective bit. We've all gone through all that. And it is relevant. I'm sorry, that is relevant. Just because I don't want to distance myself from things that are relevant. I won't do that. I know Earth is flat. I know it's measured. It's measured like the baseline of the Earth, mean sea level, is a horizontal plane, and all elevations are measured from above and below that plane. That is a fact, measurable fact, right? But I don't want to distance myself from the fact that they did hijack perspective and many other things. Like Robotham was doing the best he could at the time. You have to remember, he didn't have a daily show with all the like minds. You know what I mean? That we have today. You know what I mean? If he was around today, he might have been corrected by you. Yes, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't have ended up on the panel.
I'm with you there, Brian.
That's how I felt yesterday.
It'd be smashing the Black Swan. It's only because the Black Swan, we've done it, yeah? But look at the things he does. Right, you might have some objection, but 150 years ago, he's the only person out there, or he's one of the first, that's taken the subject to the mainstream, yeah? And look at the topics he picks. Now, we might have with one or two of them and pick fault and say, actually, that's not the best way. But as I said, just he's living in a different time, a time where space does not exist. And I think that's important to realise how long ago Robotham is before you had any critique by today's standards. Yeah? So we could poo-poo his methodology, say, well, actually, that you're invoking fallacy there. But he's the first person that goes out and sets the standards, provides a bit of feast and nonsense as he does, for us to be able to critique it. But I draw the point again, how much useless. That is the worst driving I've ever seen. Yeah, don't smile, Doug. Right. Yeah, that's the issue, is that he's a man out of time. And I think if we apply our sensibilities and standards to it, we're guilty of making a false comparison, I think, because it is so long ago. And I'll reiterate the point again. It was bugging me last night. Space as a concept did not exist in Robot on Time. So whatever he's doing, he's dealing with a very, very, very different mindset.
Yes, I agree. One of the things that Rowbottom pointed out, and it's hidden, one of the things that's hidden, when I say it's hidden, it is hidden, right, because they don't speak about it. If you go to any reference about Rowbottom, most references won't mention it. They're trying to say that he lost to that guy Wallace, the surveyor. He lost the bet. He didn't lose the bet, and as usual, Nathan is something Nathan pointed out before. These people are always looking to have bets. It's some kind of stupid nonsense they have, right? But he didn't lose the bet. He went back and showed, and it was proven by a judge that sided with him. He showed that what the surveyor was trying to claim was curvature, he proved was what I showed to be optical drop. He was the first person to show that. He was showing it, and he proved it, to the judge, that it was purely perspective. But yet no one talks about that. The problem I had yesterday. 1 second here. Sorry. The problem I had with yesterday, why I left the comment, Nathan, was before Neil goes. I'm not trying to stop you, Neil. I just want to finish my comment. Is that because other people are trying to throw Rowbottom under the bus, doesn't mean that we have to throw him underneath the bus. Like, the ballers will throw Neil deGrasse Tyson underneath the bus, but they can throw him under the bus all they want. But I don't think it's right for us to throw Rowbottom underneath the bus. I throw 100,000 David Weisses underneath the bus, but not Rowbottom. I have to respect what he did in the time he was in.
That's fine. You can do that, but it's irrelevant to the topic. What's the point? It doesn't matter if Rowbottom was wrong. Earth is measured flat.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!